The fact that you jumped out of a car not once, but twice.
I just started making like sleep apnea noises a little bit.
Yes, so what happened was, I'm not a huge drinker.
Welcome to episode 2 of season 2 of the Dammit Danii podcast. I am so excited to have my guest, Eric McKenna here, host of the Eric McKenna Project.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. What's his name?
Oh my God, I didn't name them. I've named my car. My car's name is Ozzy.
You wait. You named your car, but you didn't name his.
No, I did not. I didn't think of names for them. Now I'm on the spot.
Oh, it's a prop on this set. I figured.
I know.
Okay.
Do you name all the props on your set?
Hell no.
You have so many things on your set. I feel like that'd probably be a lot.
It's a little messy in there. Yeah.
It's not messy
In
at
a good
all.
way. Well, you're not there all the time. Yeah, it gets a little overwhelming. Yes, it's good though.
I love it. I think
different.
it's
Thank
such
you.
an interesting space.
Interesting is a good way to put it.
No, but it's cool. Like you have so many things, like all the stuff that you have. Do you still have all this stuff like on
it continues to evolve. It was like this in the beginning. I was just like throwing shit everywhere and like, oh, okay. But in reality, I just wanted the studio coming out of the gate to look impressive on camera because I figured if people didn't know what we were doing,
right,
at least it would look good.
Right.
Maybe that would work. And I think that's kind of worked. Like, I love Joe Rogan and what he does, and
Yes.
the content's amazing, but I never thought the optics of the studio was that great. Maybe he just doesn't care,
Right.
That's fine. But I figured, well, coming out of the gate, I'm not Joe Rogan. So what can I do to maybe catch an audience right away? And I thought the optics, having a cool studio in the beginning, was the solution.
Right, is the way to go.
So I don't know if it's cool or not. It's definitely something.
I love it. I think it's awesome. And it looks so professional. Like I feel
You
like,
think?
yes, definitely yes. I mean, we're sitting in my supposed to be dining room, AKA podcast room.
It's the podcast studio.
'Cause who needs
I don't
a
know what
dining
you're talking
room?
about. It's a podcast
It is a
studio.
podcast room with a lovely leopard photo. See, I just picked, some random items
him
like these. Fred. Okay, so if one's Fred, what are we going to name the other one?
That's on your side.
Okay. I feel like Fred, like I instantly thought Frank because I'm like, do we do 2 F's? But I feel like,
Do that.
all right, Fred and Frank.
Yeah.
I love it. So if anyone else asks me now,
So what are we doing
I have
here?
an answer. Hey, we're here to talk about all the things that you do. All the things.
wasting your time.
No, you're not at all. This is what I'm here for. So let's dive into the podcast first,
Yeah.
since we're kind of on that already.
sure.
How long have you been podcasting?
19. I set the studio up in December of 18, and I started in March of 19.
Okay.
Before the world went to shit.
Yes. It feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what life was like before.
Yeah, I wanted to do like 50 shows a year. I thought that would be an astronomical amount, maybe 30 to 50. If I could do I wanted to do 30 for sure, but if I could do 50, I thought that'd be amazing. And now we're it's just, I guess it'll be 3 years in March for us, and we're on show right now, like 241 or something. I don't know how it happened, but we were having so much fun, we just kept doing them.
Right. And I feel like every time I'm online, like I see from you, like there's like 3 episodes. Like you just pump episodes out all the time.
Yeah, I do. It's fun though. It's a passion. I guess the whole project is a passion, but it's just a lot of fun, and the conversations are great. And for me, it's a very selfish show. I mean, there's no sponsors.
Right.
I'm not looking to make money from it. So I get the instant thing I get from people is, well, why are you doing it if you're not going to make money? And it really was never about that with me.
Right.
The content of the conversations is what keeps me going, and it's just, just a blast.
It is. It's so fun.
It's a blast.
That's what Jeff Fieldhouse and I were talking about. Like, I feel like you really have to love podcasting to do it. It has to be for you.
No question. I mean, all the good stuff can come, but if I don't think there'll be great results for you long term if people don't feel like you're doing it because you have a passion for it.
Right.
It's kind of corny, but I mean, if you don't really
it's
really
true.
love it, if you're just mailing it in, I mean, anybody can mail it in.
Right. Literally anyone can start a podcast.
Half the world mails their daily life in. They mail it in at work. They mail it in on their social life. So if you're really invested in it and you dig it, people catch on to that.
I feel like they definitely respond to it, and I feel like your audience can tell if you're authentic or not, if you are enjoying the people that you're having on.
100%.
So
100%. Yeah. I don't want to do it. At this point, I don't want to do an episode if I'm not really invested in the conversation. We were talking a little bit off camera. I don't want to have somebody on because that's what people think I should do. Like, I don't want to have this person on because they're famous for doing this or they're popular for this reason. If I happen to dig what they do or I find them really interesting, then I'd love to talk to them. But they don't have to. But my guests are very eclectic. I kind of like lean toward comedians. I'll lean toward entrepreneurs. I'll lean toward business folks that I've known for a long time who are great conversationalists. But I won't go and seek the local music artist who's popular this month because I'm just not interested. And so I have to be really interested, knowing that that's not the formula to maybe monetize. Because if a marketing company came in and said, hey, do these 5 things and you'll get these sponsors and these many hits, and I'm sure it'll work. I just have no interest in doing that. And it probably is reflective upon the goal from the beginning, which was to have fun.
Right.
You know?
I feel like it's what it has to be about. It has to be about having a good time. Because I don't know, why would you want to start an extra project and put something else on your plate
it's a lot of work.
It is. So do you edit and do everything on your own?
Yeah, I do all the editing. Now, when I say edit, it's a funny word. I don't try not to edit anything. So from a content standpoint, the moment we say go to the moment we're ending, if I had my druthers, the guests would be okay with everything, and knowing that, hey, I really don't want to edit because it's a lot of aggravation and time. But also, I think there's an integrity thing there where if the show's going to be authentic, then we should be saying, hey, here's the whole show, all the warts and all, right?
Right.
I can't say there hasn't been times I've edited some things. If there's a bathroom break or, if there's been few moments where a guest really went off the deep end and they told me they weren't comfortable with some of that stuff.
Okay.
I want it to be a win for my guest. I'm not there to have a catch a moment. I'm not there to embarrass anybody. It needs to be a win. And I want them to have a good time.
Right.
What's flattering is when someone will take the show and use it for their marketing or their promotion or something. That's flattering to me. I'm not doing the show for an infomercial for them, but if they find the content valuable, that's actually that's reaffirmation that we're doing something cool.
It is.
You know what I mean?
You're like, they really enjoyed the time with me. Yeah. It went really well. They feel good about it, and they want to use it.
I try not to edit, so if you fuck up...
So, okay.
It's on you.
So, everybody, if you're going to be a guest,
that's right.
Note to self.
That's right.
Eric's not cutting it out.
I would prefer not to.
He's like, listen, I don't want to be editing any longer. Editing sucks. I'm going to be honest.
Oh, yeah. Try 5-7 cameras and multiple microphones.
You have cameras everywhere,
insane.
Right?
It's insane.
I have my first one.
See, this is easy.
This is easy peasy.
No complaining about this one.
This is in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, but eventually you'll have a second and a third. You'll see.
Oh, I'm sure it'll start expanding.
And then with complexity comes time, but there's cool stuff that can come from it. Like I wouldn't change. I'm always noodling around adding another camera. I'm trying to do something to make the show look a certain way. I edit the cameras and the camera views and all that. I edit it very specific to what I like, but it doesn't follow like cinematography rules. Like I don't pan to this camera for 8 to 10 seconds only and then pan over here, because if I was to hand all my cards, my CD cards to someone and say, hey, produce the show, it would look so different than the way my shows look, because that's me. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and I'm not following some kind of preconceived notion of how it should look. It's not cinematography. It's not following cinematography rules. It just has this very specific, uniform kind of vibe to it.
It does, and I like the angles that you pick. That one angle that you do, and I don't know if you still do it, but the one where you it's like turned and it zooms in on the guest. I love that. I think that's so cool.
I think so too, and nothing's original. I just pick stuff up from Rogan, pick stuff up from other podcasts that I see the optics. I never wanted to do an audio show only. I wanted that video component from day one.
Right.
Because I really thought that it was just, the concept was great. Like, people love to watch, or they could put it in the corner of their computer while they're working or something. But that when you took podcasting and then made it a visual, it became a show, and it became the perfect thing, because what did my generation love about like those shows 2020 or Barbara Walters Presents, or you had an opportunity to get an in-depth interview with somebody.
Right.
and you could see it too. It wasn't like you were listening on the radio. You could see it, but there was always commercials. It was always edited. So now you have a conversation between people where they can see it, they can hear it, and they know it's not getting cut up all the time.
Right.
And I think that's the perfect scenario for me in terms of like feeling that I got my money's worth of investing.
No, I agree. And when I started, I think personally I was a little intimidated by video. I liked it for clips, but I'm like, I don't know about a whole video for the whole thing. Like, it just seems like a lot. But then you tell people you have a podcast, and they're like, well, where's your YouTube? People want a visual. They like to see a visual
100%.
interview. So
Good point.
season 2 is going to be visual.
Yeah, and I think it's good. And even if it's one camera, it doesn't matter. It's like, I probably have too much complexity. Like, do I need all those camera angles? My life would be simpler if I didn't have them, and I probably really don't need to do it. As long as for my show, we could really do it with like a center camera and 2 other directionals. The rest of it's all kind of like fluff. I like it because it gives it a different look and feel.
Right.
And I think that, what I do is not specific to any genre. It's all open genre. So I've got to separate myself from other podcasts in town or around if it's going to have enough interest to be worth my time,
right,
to put it out there. It's always going to be worth my interest to have the conversation, but is it worth my interest to put it out there? So again, just the angles and the finished product is what I would hope, so far at least from what I can see, it kind of separates what I do from like a lot of other podcasts.
I think you definitely have a very specific style. Like, you can tell that you spend a lot of time and you make it the way that you want it, and it's very artistic. And you can.
Well, thank you.
I think so.
It is, but thank you very much. But it is specific to me, and
it is,
and it's authentic to me, and that's where the older I get, the authenticity part is like I'm not perfect, and I have a lot of warts, but at least I know what I'm doing is authentic to myself, and that's a big thing with me. A little serious of conversation, but I really believe in that now. And I think I wish I would have found that when I was younger, like how to really concentrate on being authentic to myself. And now I'm in a position in life, I can do that, and I'm having a blast doing it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool time.
It's
a real cool time.
It's so great. I love it.
Yeah, we're going to do a panel, and you're going to do the panel show, right?
I want to do it so bad.
Yeah, so
yeah.
The panel show was where and I always wanted to do this. The beginning of the idea was one-on-one interviews, but then I was going to have these long table and have 2 other seats, so me and 3 others, basically. And I envisioned doing, like, panel discussions, nothing that formal, but basically having people in. But when you add those extra seats, you have to have extra cameras and extra microphones and all that stuff. So another level of complexity. But in the end, I tell you, Danny, it's worth it. I mean, like, the content is unbelievable and funny. And the other thing, too, is on a serious note, what's great about it is if I quit tomorrow, I got 240 episodes. Or if I go another 10 years, I'll have thousands of episodes. Doesn't matter. That content is a little snapshot in time. And I look at it this way. Maybe my kids and maybe my grandchildren and maybe even their grandchildren, who knows? Maybe they have an interest in what their family did, who in their family did what. This is my little snapshot of these conversations. They can look back someday and say, hey, this is what my dad did. This is what my grandfather did. This is what my great-grandfather did,
Yeah.
And I think that is so much more valuable to me as a parent and as a family member, selfishly, than any material thing I could buy. That little snapshot in time will be a weird kind, not weird, but like a little bit of a legacy that I can leave my kids and my grandchildren. If something would happen to me and I would never see I would die before my grandchildren were born.
Yeah.
There would be some mark there. Does that make any sense?
It totally does.
That with my family. I wish I had. I don't have photos, video, Super 8. I don't have anything from my grandparents or my very few photos. So I think maybe that's why I'm a little more sensitive to it than a lot of people.
So I'll say from my personal perspective, I really love that idea. And I think it's a great it's just such a thoughtful gift to leave somebody, because I lost my dad. So, and I don't have any videos of him. I can't hear his voice anymore. And there's some days I'm like, man, I wish I could just hear his voice one more time, or to see him just laugh one more time. Right. So I think to have that is going to be great to leave for your family.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's, I guess, a residual benefit. I don't think about the morbidity of me leaving this earth anytime soon, you know. But ultimately, yeah, I think there's something to be said for that. And you know, I view the fact that people are doing podcasts more and more, and you always hear this, oh, everybody has a podcast now. I think that's great. It's a form of expression. Let people, you know, consistency is what does it. Like for me, it was like once I realized I was having a blast and I just wanted to keep doing them, nothing was going to stop me, because you always get the naysayers. Oh, you're wasting your time, or you know, how many viewers you getting here? Or how come? What's your best viewing show and all this? You know, your best viewed show. I have all that data, and it's not for public consumption. But I laugh. I'm like, I started this thing, and there's enough people that seem to dig it from all over the world, because you can see
exactly where everyone's listening from, guys.
And through the guitar business and all that, we had customers all over the world. So I was able to reconnect with a lot of these customers that I haven't seen since I closed the business in 2014. So I haven't really talked to them. This podcast has been another doorway to say hello to them again.
Yeah.
You know? So it's been really on a personal end, very rewarding, for sure.
It is. I can definitely agree that it is rewarding. I think it's not about numbers. I think numbers will come. You know what I mean? If you continue, and I think that's one of the hardest things is being consistent. It is so hard to be consistent, especially when you have a show where you're bringing guests on every week. It is like, it's another full-time job.
Can be.
But it's definitely back to the passion. If it's not your passion project, I don't think it has to be, or it's not worth doing.
Yeah, 100%. And the other thing too about consistency is America's a funny place. Like, you can be successful in this country in a lot of different ways. Mm-hmm. But the formula that I found was you don't have to be really great at anything. You just have to have a bullheaded mentality that you believe in it and you do it. If you do it enough and do it consistently with a decent amount of quality and get better and better as you go, you will be successful in spite of yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's something a lot of people just can't get to, because I think they just get defeated early on.
So that brings me to a question. So when you first started, because this isn't like anything you had done before, right? Like you didn't have a background.
I did a radio show.
Oh, okay.
In Beaver County, but it wasn't like I was hired for my radio talent. Although I got a good voice.
You do have a great radio voice.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That was pretty narcissistic. I had never had a radio show, but I was offered the opportunity to buy my own radio show as an advertisement as a realtor. Like, do you want to go on? We'll put you on the air for an hour on this little station in Beaver County, and we'll let you talk about real estate, and you can use it as a big commercial, and you give the station this amount of money per month, and we'll let you buy your own show. Well, I just loved it. And then all of a sudden, it went from an hour to 90 minutes. Then it went to 2 hours, and 2.5 hours. And then it became a variety show. So we were a little real estate, a little politics, a little sports. And it just became this like love affair I started having with the people in Beaver County over like a 3-year period. So, I had that level of comfort, which kind of made the podcasting stuff a little easier.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a real background in public speaking or anything. I just kind of fell into the radio thing, which helped me deliver me to the point where I was ready to do my own podcast.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
No, it definitely does, because I feel like when you start something like this and you're brand new and you don't have a background like me, like I think I was very like almost intimidated, because it's a very vulnerable thing to start something so new and put it out there. So that was going to be my question, like kind of what your feelings were.
Oh, I was scared shitless.
I was first
scared
put your
shitless
first
the first
episode
day
out.
I went live on the radio in 2016, scared shitless. But I figured it out. And this was like, I had my first guest was Susie Cool. She was a Pittsburgh Pirate ball girl. And
I love it.
She became an announcer, and she went out and did minor league baseball. And I sat down with her in the studio. In the studio, if you go back and watch that episode, it's on YouTube and Facebook.
I'm going to look it up.
The studio looks much different. It's still the same vibe. The point is, 10 minutes into that, I was like, this is easy. This is fun. This is like what I've done on the radio for 3 years, but now I don't have any commercial breaks.
Yeah.
I can handle it the way I want. I can really have a conversation. And I realized right away that no one really wants to be interviewed.
No.
And even the people of notoriety in this town, your sports personalities and your broadcasting personalities, they don't want to be interviewed, but they love to have a conversation with you. So I realized right away, really, it is about the conversation. And I think that's kind of what may separate or make me a little bit different than a lot of standard podcasts, because sometimes they come off, not today with us, but oftentimes they come off very interview-like, and I think it's like, I'm not here for a job.
Right.
Right.
It's very structured, and I don't like a structured where it seems like an interview where it's like, I have these 5 questions I have to ask you today, and if we don't get to it, like, it's not going to work. Like, I personally like something. That's why when you were asking me about the show, I'm like, I just let it be what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I like to come prepared.
Absolutely.
And have some background, especially if it's someone I don't know.
Absolutely.
Because I don't want to seem like an asshole. Like, I didn't even, like, look you up or anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here you
sure.
are.
For sure. No, I think you need to be prepared, because that's only respectful to your guest.
Yes.
I
don't want them to feel like they're wasting their time. Like, I want them to enjoy
100%.
the time with me.
Yeah, 100% for sure.
So we are going to take a quick break.
Yeah, right on.
When we come back, we're going to keep diving in.
Oh, boy.
All right, so we're going to dive back in. So I told you before, I'm like, don't hate me. I took a screenshot of your Facebook bio just because there's so many things that you do.
Okay.
This is a man that does all the things.
I don't know about that, but okay.
Let's dive into your realty. Is it realty or
Realty,
did I say?
yeah.
Okay.
I'm a realtor.
A realtor.
Or if you hear the Facebook crowd, it's called "You're a realtor."
A realtor.
Sounds like a dinosaur or something. He's a realtor. No, a realtor.
Does
Realtor.
anybody say that to you?
I get it all the time.
Oh,
Hey, we're looking for a realtor. I'm like, you can find one down at Toys R Us, or you can get one for your kid. It's a little toy dinosaur. It's a realtor.
Right, like not me. Like I'm not doing that for you.
Yeah,
You're like, no.
Yeah, I've been in real estate since 2013, and I love it. It's a great profession. It suits me for a lot of reasons.
What made you choose it? Like what made you decide
I had a guitar business for a long time, which we can talk about, but it was coming to an end, and I could feel it in 2012, and I had to figure out what to do, and I couldn't go work in corporate America again, because I could never sit still in a cube.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be part of a sales team somewhere, because I'm kind of unmanageable, and I just don't. Who's going to manage me? Like, no one's going to manage me. So I have to find my own gig. And real estate made sense. I really dig people, and I don't need supervision often. And I wanted unlimited income. I wasn't afraid of that, because I'd run my own business for 15 years practically. I didn't need to worry about having a regular paycheck. So it suited me, and I just think it's an absolutely fantastic career path, probably for the right type of person. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't want to do anything else, really. I mean, I'll do this till I'm never going to retire. I will do
never.
No, I will do it to the day. It's too much fun. Real estate's fun for all of the preconceived notions that, you run around and deals fall through, and you show a couple 25, 30 houses and they don't buy one. There's all those negatives that people say. It's like, that's the smallest portion of the job. Like, to see somebody close on a house, to see a young couple purchase a house, to see, let's say, older folks, sell their family home and downsize to something smaller. There's always an interesting life situation that I get to be a part of. And people welcome you into their life. It's a great job for people that are wired like me, I guess.
Right.
But I wouldn't want to do anything else. I really wouldn't.
It's just so wild. Like, I feel like you probably have just made so many probably friends, like lifelong friends
100%.
from it.
100%.
And it's probably, I think, very similar to podcasting almost. Like, it kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, they're congruent in that regard for sure.
So do people, because I don't know how it completely works, do people seek you out or do they seek the houses out that you list? Because I see that you list houses all the time.
Absolutely. So the way it works is realtors, we can work with someone selling their house and someone buying their house. So
okay.
I have selling clients and I have buying clients. sometimes the selling client is also a buying client because you're helping them sell a house and also find a new one. So we have two major capacities, though, working with sellers and working with buyers. And so I usually get hired by someone at the beginning of the process.
Okay.
I've been very fortunate because I'm a rather public person. I've done radio and all this stuff and the prior businesses I was in. So people, not everybody, but a lot of people know me, so they know of me. So I do get a lot of referrals, and a lot of some of the ads that I run are very fruitful. They usually come to me in the beginning and say, "Hey, Eric, we're getting ready to look for a house," or "Hey, Eric, we're getting ready to sell our house. We're thinking we may want to sell our house. Will you come and talk with us?" So it's just connecting with people in that regard.
Yeah.
Referrals are a big thing. I just been able to meet and work with so many people over the years on all kinds of levels that now the referrals come very consistently, which I'm very grateful for. But they usually start with me at the beginning of the process.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I will help them on a home search if they're looking for a house, or if they need to list their house, we'll go through all the ins and outs of doing that and get their house sold for them.
Oh, man.
It's awesome. Wouldn't want to do anything else. If I could be a rock star tomorrow in some weird parallel universe, I would want to do exactly what I'm doing.
Really?
Yep.
Bold statement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those rock star dreams are long gone. But
They're over with. I'm done being a rock star. I'm a realtor now.
I'm a realtor now. Yeah, I tried that a long time ago. I didn't quite get there, so that's all right. I did okay.
So before we dive into that, because I do want to dive into that.
Yeah.
Do you have any realty stories you can tell that we can share? We can keep it very vague. I feel like you've probably seen some things.
Yeah, I've seen some things.
I feel like walking into people's homes is probably sometimes do you have some moments where you're like, wow?
Yeah, so, yeah. Cat piss is not a good thing.
Okay, no.
Cat piss
Nope.
is, that's not, animals are tough in general when you sell your house. Dogs are usually manageable because the owner knows they just can't leave the dog there once people are going to come and view their house.
Makes sense.
You could put a dog in a cage. You could do it. But generally, they have to take the dog with them or kennel the dog or whatever. But with cats, because they're so independent and the vicious little killers that they are, they roam on their own. They're free range. So oftentimes you're bringing your client into this house, and you walk in, and the client might be allergic to cats, which they're going to know right away. I've had cats attack me. I've had a cat attack one of my clients.
Stop.
But cats aren't, and the smell, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
The smell is that's a whole nother level. But I've also been attacked by a bird.
I'm sorry, what?
A bird.
A bird? Like a parrot bird or like a little bird?
I don't know what kind of bird this was.
Please elaborate.
It was a very colorful bird. So
Okay.
I'm guessing it was a tropical kind of house bird in a cage kind of thing.
It makes no sense to me. Sorry if you have a bird.
Yeah. Well, there was they had a bunch of birds, and they were in cages. And of course, the listing agent never bothered to tell me that there was birds in this place, which I have nothing against birds, but this bird didn't like me too much.
A heads up would have been nice. Yo.
Yeah, so I'm walking through the house, and they're squawking and making noise, and whatever birds do, they kind of talk and they mimic and stuff, and
Plotting your death.
and they're making all these fluttering their thing, and the cages are and I'm freaking the flip out. So I'm getting ready to leave, and I knew something was strange because two of the cages were open and the birds had gotten out. I knew that they were somewhere in the place, and the rest of them I could tell the cages were kind of enclosed. They were secure, I thought. But I figured, well, there's two birds out here that are just, the owner, for whatever reason, decided to let their birds fly free. Maybe that's how they live. I don't know.
Wow.
As I was leaving with this couple, they had walked out the door, and just as I was getting ready to leave and couldn't wait to get out of there, this bird come down and just hit the back of my head.
Oh my God.
I'm like, and I could hear the flap of the wings. It was I didn't know if I could hit with a bat. Someone clubbed me in the back of the head with a baseball bat. But this flipping bird either tried to land on my head or hit. And I'm like, you got to fucking be kidding me. It's just unbelievable. No one's going to believe this shit.
Now, Like they were.
Yeah.
It was out for blood. Your blood.
My clients thought it was the funniest thing they'd ever seen.
Did they buy the birdhouse?
They did not buy the birdhouse.
What a surprise!
Yeah, and there was actually cats in this place. I found
Shut
that
the fuck up. How many
fascinating.
animals do you need?
No, I thought that was fascinating because cats usually pursue birds, right?
Right.
Can you imagine the craziness that was going on in that joint?
Too much shit.
Yeah.
No.
And then early in my career, I had what is the nightmare of all Asians, and I had it in my first year. I went into a house that was supposed to be vacant, and I had a scheduled appointment with my clients right behind me, and I'm walking in, and there were 2 people in the house in the basement.
Okay.
And they were engaged in some kind of ritual.
Like a satanic ritual?
No.
Oh.
No. A more common ritual. And the irony of this entire situation is that I didn't know they were there, naturally. Mm-hmm. And they must have heard us open the door, come in, talk. Because I was talking to my clients, husband and wife with me, talking to them. I proceed to go down the stairs. And I look over. And I looked. And then I looked again. And then I grabbed for the light switch and looked again. And I decided it probably wouldn't be a good idea to throw the light switch on. And I will just say that, unfortunately for me, I was absolutely at the wrong angle because I got a sight in my head that I cannot get out, and I've tried very, very diligently over the last year, 2, 3, 4 years to get that vision out of my head, and I can't, and it wasn't too attractive. And I'll just leave it at that.
I just the whole thing. I'm just picturing the entire thing. Your reaction.
It was 2 attractive looking people, and
right?
I had to see that.
Right.
At least it wouldn't scar me.
Right.
But what I saw for that 2 minutes, and of course they jumped up, and it was a whole scene, and they were so embarrassed and all that, and we promptly left the property.
This is like a movie moment.
It was.
This is literally a movie moment.
And I was not. And again, it was my first year doing this, and luckily for me, it wasn't anyone that I knew. It wasn't. I don't believe it was another agent that was in there, like
Oh yeah.
having an affair with someone in the house. I don't know. I don't think that's the case.
That'd be scandalous.
Who knows?
I mean, I'm just saying, that would have been pretty scandalous.
It would have been really awkward had I known the person that was there, but it wasn't. It was not. I mean, because when you see a love scene in a movie, or you see like a romantic scene, there's usually 2 relatively attractive people there.
Right.
That's just what sells, right? Mm-hmm. But that's not reality.
That is not what you
I
saw.
got a really heavy dose of fucking reality. So it was only a glimpse, and it was only for a second, and I didn't want to stick around.
You didn't want to stay for the show?
Yeah, I did.
Didn't want to get the whole thing
I
again?
didn't want to stay for the show.
Oh,
no.
How many years of therapy did you need after that?
I didn't need any years of therapy. I figured it was part of the job. And, this is the worst that could happen to me. I'll be okay. But that actually happened. That actually. I mean, I've walked into. There's times I've gone to homes that were supposed to be vacant, that they weren't. And so I've seen like people eating Cheetos and laying half naked on their sofa watching television, never thinking anyone in the world would walk through their front door because they didn't know the showing was coming.
Oh,
it happens with rentals a lot, where the landlord of the building might try to sell the building, but he has tenants. And if he doesn't communicate effectively with the tenants that, hey, I'm bringing a realtor here tomorrow, clear out for an hour.
Right. Don't be half naked on your couch eating Cheetos.
Yeah, I've seen some crazy shit. So, yeah. I mean, you'll have that.
It's just part of the job. You'll have it. It's fine.
Yeah, nothing. But since that was a great way to indoctrinate myself into the world of real estate back in 2013. That's for sure.
I feel like that's like the defining moment. Like, is this what you want to do? Is this really
I went home going, is this really is this a regular thing? Am I going to have to expect to have this happen? So I started asking other agents, this is what happened to me. Is this a normal thing? And like everybody was like, what happened to you? And no one believed it. So
oh gosh.
I guess it's not a normal occurrence. So
oh well, that's good to know.
I guess.
I mean,
It's a little sketch.
It's a little sketchy, but like as you're saying it, I'm like, it probably happens more often than people think it does. But then hopefully it doesn't.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's not recommended. You're gonna sell your house.
Don't go to a vacant home and participate in a ritual.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, was it like? I don't think it was the seller. Like, I think I don't know who the people were. That's what is a little more unsettling.
Right.
I told the listing agent naturally, but it is what it is.
Oh my God.
We'll leave it alone.
Wow. Well, I really appreciate that story.
That's fantastic.
I don't think you could have delivered any better content about your profession than that.
Well, you asked for the.
I wanted it.
What was bizarre?
I wanted
was bizarre.
the juicy details. I wanted to know.
There's probably a bunch of other craziness too, but those two. Getting attacked by the bird. I've seen some crazy like stuffed animals and things. People stuff the weirdest things. Like,
have you seen like a hoarder situation?
Oh, hoarders. Yeah, yes.
Okay.
There was a house that was so bad I wouldn't go in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Like the smell or like the shit that was in it, and you're like, no.
The smell was bad. And I couldn't get the front door really open. And usually those are vacant homes that are headed for like foreclosure, or you have a landlord that has a building with multiple units, and one of their tenants really went batshit crazy. And I've seen. Well, you do the business long enough, you're going to see your fair share of craziness.
Right.
And that definitely was a little dicey. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest like things that like if you can just think of one thing? I need one thing. The weirdest thing.
What?
Like just.
That was pretty weird when I told you earlier.
I mean, definitely yes, but I mean as far as like items go, like or like a hoarding situation.
Man, hoarding. I've seen newspapers and jars of piss. I've seen that.
Oh, God.
Newspapers and I guess they were bottling their piss and storing. I've seen that nonsense.
Oh.
A lot of dirt and like sometimes I looked down at this one kitchen one time. I looked at I couldn't figure out like what the concoction was on the floor. Like was it a food related concoction? Was it like a dog shit related concoction? Was it human defecation? Was it like what created that? Not really sure
what is this?
I'm not gonna walk in that. I'm not gonna go in there. But what exactly is that? How does someone live in there?
Oh.
So, yeah, and there's a very very small percentage of homes. I mean, those are rarities, but
right.
You have some weird moments, and then there's no realtor gonna sit and tell you that they don't have any uncomfortable moments. You do it for as long. You do it for 7-8 years. And you're active. You're gonna run into some craziness.
I remember one time my parents were looking at houses, and me and then my 3 brothers were there, and my parents were there, and she's like, "Yeah, just look around the house, whatever." So it was this huge house. So we're looking around at all the rooms and stuff. Till we looked at everything and came back, she was asleep on the floor.
Wait, what?
Yeah, she fell asleep on the floor. My stepdad had to wake her up. Because he tried, he's like, maybe if we talk loud, she'll hear us and be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But she literally just sat against the wall and fell asleep.
That's insane.
It was the weirdest thing. It was the weirdest thing I've ever witnessed.
That's funny you said that. I did have one other oddity too. I went into a house that was supposed to be vacant, and I literally went up to we were showing the first floor, went up to the second floor, and it was an older home. Went to the back bedroom, and the door was a little bit ajar, which is odd because most of the doors were wide open. And I'm walking down this creaky hallway, and I go to open this door, and there was a woman that had to be 90-ish, man, little frail woman, laying on her back in the bed, the covers up. And if her eyeballs were not open, I would have thought she was dead.
Oh my God, I was just about to say, was she dead?
And the room was kind of dim, and there was a TV in the corner, but her eyeballs were looking straight at the ceiling, and I'm like, "Excuse me, I'm very sorry," and she never moved. And so I was like, "What the hell?" And I contacted the agent and said, "Oh, it was supposed to be empty. They were supposed to empty." I said, "Well, they must have left Grandma upstairs, and they didn't put a lock on the door because we walked right in." So I've had some, that was a little bit, that was murder mystery stuff there for sure.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
It was dicey.
Yeah, what do I say to this person?
It's
She's
awkward.
not responding.
What
do you say? Ma'am?
And I know we're probably going long here, but the other pet peeve is just you do an open house, or I've had to. sad to say, earlier in my career, but I'd go to do an open house, and the seller of the house would like leave, and I'd go to the open house, and they didn't do their dishes. The kitchen was a mess. Had that on occasion where I had to get involved with cleaning people's stuff, and I did that when I was a younger agent because I thought that's what we had to do.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I got good guidance from some senior agents, like, you know, you really shouldn't be putting up with that shit. But
No.
yeah, I mean, clean your house.
Right. Carl, do your fucking dishes.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Exactly. You want to sell your house, clean your house, friends. That's all. That's my best advice. No cat piss. Keep your house clean. Even if your house isn't, you know, aesthetically amazing, it doesn't matter. Just make it clean.
Yes.
No cat piss.
No cat piss.
Do your dishes.
Cage your birds.
Taste the birds.
Take grandma with you.
Take grandma with you. And don't be fornicating in the basement.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's really
That's
not hard.
It's not hard,
No, rules to live by.
Rules to live by.
I love it.
For sure.
Okay, so when we come back, it's the final segment.
Oh, God.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We're going to do the damn it moments.
All right. Oh, Christ. I'm ready.
Oh, I'm so excited. All right, we'll be right back.
All right.
Sometimes I make impulse purchases, okay? And
Oh, shit.
I like to preface that because sometimes I just buy things. Sometimes I just buy things. They're finger symbols.
I've always wanted to play with it. Hold on a second.
Oh,
Go ahead.
there you go.
Yes. How does this
I
work
love this.
exactly?
Okay, so I did watch a few YouTube videos. I'm not super great at it, but you put it on your middle finger your pointer finger and your thumb finger.
Okay.
And then you almost have to hit it at an angle.
The belly
Yes.
belly dancers wear these things?
Yes. I love it. It's like a bike bell.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, you're definitely better than I was. I tried to use it, and Kevin's like, please stop. Enough is enough. Just stop.
All right, you're an impulse buyer.
I'm an impulse buyer. And I saw on Facebook Marketplace that somebody was selling lip chairs. It was in the shape of lips. It was two
I've
chairs.
seen those before.
I almost bought them.
You didn't, though.
I didn't because someone beat me to the punch.
Wasn't
I
it-
messaged this
it
person.
It wasn't that you had restraint. It was
No.
actually you just lost out.
Yes, someone beat me to it because I was trying to figure out how do I get this in my car.
You may have a problem.
I definitely have an issue. That's a whole other thing for a different day. If I go into all my impulse purchases, we'll be here forever.
Impulse purchases. That's okay.
It makes me feel better.
That's what they say. Call it retail therapy.
It
right?
is.
It's a thing.
It is, and it works really well, at least for me.
It works well for the young.
Right. Not my bank account, but it works well. Okay.
All right, what are we doing here?
So we're going to dive into the Damn It segment.
Yes.
And I know I asked you to come prepared with a Damn It moment. But before we get into that, we need to talk about the first time we met.
What the piss?
This is such an embarrassing story on my part. So Eric and I decided to meet up to talk podcast things.
Yep.
And we were talking about where to go. I remember that being a little bit of a topic of conversation. And you're trying to help me out. You're like, what area are you staying in? Let me help you.
Let me help you.
So you sent me some options.
Yes.
And I'm like, whatever. Whatever's cool. I'm usually pretty chill.
Yeah, you're very no problem.
If I can get a drink there, I don't care where I end up. That's usually how I feel, which is basically what happened. So I feel like you probably did some decent research and you're like, hey, come meet me at this place. You sent me a screenshot, I think, of the website.
Jackson.
Yes.
Right? Because I knew Jackson's was near the airport and they were a bar. And I really didn't know because of COVID, what's open, what isn't open. But I figured this place probably would be open. It was middle of the afternoon, or noon or something.
Yeah, it was in the early afternoon. So where I fucked up is I looked at the screenshot that you sent me. And I literally just typed it in, not thinking that there might be multiple locations. So, okay, in my defense, I was multitasking. I was driving and doing this, and I should not have been doing that, but that's what was happening. And I just hit the first one, and that's where I went. And I get there, and there's so much going on at this hotel. There was a wedding happening, and I look at the bar or like the restaurant that this bar is supposed to be in, and it's closed. It is not open. And you message me, you're like, I'm here. And I think I was running a little late. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, maybe like I can walk in and like it's, you know.
I'm telling you the whole story.
Open.
No. No. What? No. Not entirely, no. The truth of the matter is, there's a Jackson's near the airport. Mm-hmm. And that one was closed. Mm-hmm. So I text you, hey, well, I'm going to go to the other Jackson's near the mall.
I disregarded.
I thought there was only 2 Jackson's. I literally thought there were 2 Jackson's. Now, that was a 30-minute ride west. So she goes, I'm on my way. We'll go. So I go all the way out to this Jackson, and I'm waiting at the bar, walking around, talking to the bar lady. I don't drink, so I'm sitting at the bar drinking water, and they don't like that, you know. Like, so don't worry, I'll tip you, like, you know. And I'm waiting, and you're like, I'm here. I'm like, okay, well, come around, you know. Are you at the hotel, or are you at the bar area? Are you out front, or are you in the side? So I'm walking around, talking on the phone, trying to find you in this parking lot. And you tell me as you're walking around.
I was.
Okay. And I'm walking around. I come back in. I'm like, screw it. She has to figure it out herself. And then finally you come back. Where are you? I'm like, I'm standing outside in the cold. And I'm looking. And she says, well, I'm parked over here. I'm like, parked where? I'm over here. I'm in this parking lot. I'm staring right at the sign that says Jackson.
I took a photo of the sign.
And I'm looking at it. Shit, there's the Jackson sign. So I'm outside with this photo, trying to match it up to the building.
Oh my God.
Where the fuck is she at? I'm like, after like 10 minutes, I said, you are in Monaca, PA, right? And you're like, no, South Point. I'm like, South Point? So not only is South Point was a long drive from the airport, but I already went 30 minutes west. I had to go back to the airport and go south. So I think basically I drove like 900 miles that day.
You literally did. Because I was like, no, it was my
the
mess
story's
up.
not done yet.
I'm like, let me come to you. He's like, no, you better just stay where you
have
are.
to stay. So we go. So I finally get there. Hours later, I finally get to Jackson.
We're supposed to meet at 12. It's like 2:30.
I get to Jackson's. We go in there, and what happened?
There was a stand-up bar with a bartender with 2 bottles of liquor.
It wasn't a real bar.
It was not a bar. You're like, this isn't going to work.
The one in Monaca is this palatious bar and restaurant. This thing's like someone rolled in a temporary bar in the corner and it was pouring Old Crow whiskey. It was terrible. So we proceed to find some other place to go. And for whatever reason, a lot of places were like closed. So the first place was like this crazy dive.
It was a serious dive bar.
Sketchy.
It was very sketchy.
And we won't name exactly where we were in terms of the city. We don't want to denigrate the city.
No, we
don't
want to do that.
It was a little country-ish. It was a little
sketch.
Yeah. And we ended up at this place that was supposed to be, according to that lady in the strip mall parking lot.
Oh, that's right.
The best place to eat in all of so-and-so.
She loved it. She's like, 10 out of 10. You have to go.
10 out of 10. We go there and get the fried whatever it was. The fried platter or whatever. I don't know.
The best dish they have on the menu.
And this place, when we finally found this place, was literally the smallest step above the place we just came from.
It was not good.
You know, I mean, it was rough. Rough was rough. And I'm saying to myself, I just wanted to talk podcasting.
So like, what the hell?
I pee, I get on my show, I get the connection, everything's cool. This is how this is maneuvered. This is going to be great. We're going to talk podcasting, maybe plan out some additional shows. And here I am in this godforsaken, and then it was too sketchy to sit inside.
It was a little weird.
A little safer to sit maybe outside, right? Okay. Of course. It pours rain.
It starts to rain.
Fucking pours. Now I'm drenched, and now I'm inside anyways, looking around at, these people at the bar. Watching a football game.
Oh.
With their cowboy boots.
It was a sight.
Yeah, it was a sight.
I loved it. I loved every second of it.
Yeah, you felt perfectly relaxed at home.
Yep.
And that was impressive. That was definitely impressive. But yeah, I think I drove like 900 miles that day. 900 miles.
It was a memorable moment. It was a memorable afternoon.
I'm looking, and you're convincing. You're telling me you're in that parking lot. You're
so
at the location, and I'm like looking around. I'm like, there is no fucking way she's at this. There's no way. But in my head, I'm like, I saw the picture. She's here. Like, how's this possible?
I was there.
And
just
then
at the wrong
I
location.
drove from Monaca to South Point. Because I didn't want you to go anywhere else because, heaven forbid, it wasn't going to work.
For some reason, I probably would have gotten lost. I would have gotten attacked. I would have gotten hit. Something would have happened to me. Guaranteed.
Oh, my God.
Guaranteed something would have happened to me.
Yeah, so Dammit Danii.
Yeah, it was a Dammit Danii moment, 100%. That is my life.
Damn it, and a bunch of other swear words as I was driving this 900 miles.
I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this girl?
I'm like, does she not realize, does she have GPS? And after I was thinking about it, I said, well, we really didn't talk about towns. We just talked about Jacksons. And that was and so then I said that maybe it's kind of somewhat maybe my fault too. So I took a little ownership of it and just, it's okay.
It all worked out.
It all worked out.
We ended up at a great establishment. I'd go back.
I'm sure you
I would go back in a heartbeat.
I'm sure you would. Yeah, I don't think I would.
I stayed for like 2 hours after you left.
Did you
I
really?
just soaked it all in. Yeah. I'm like, I have nowhere to be. I'm just going to hang out. I was really interested in the bartending situation because remember, their two girls were there and we're like, are they twins?
Oh, well, I didn't know they were. I thought they were the same people. And I think I was trying to pay her something. She goes, you just gave that to my sister. I'm like,
oh, that's right.
identical twins.
And then I did confirm they were twins.
I'm knowing you. I'm sure you did.
I needed to know.
Yeah, so the first meeting was like, it wasn't just a damn it. It was like, mother.
I have that effect on people.
Yeah. It happens. It's
Fine.
No, it was good. We had a good time.
It was fun.
For
I had a
sure.
great time.
For sure.
I love talking podcasting. So it
Yeah,
was a great time for me
we
because I
did.
can't
Yeah,
do it with a lot of people.
It's an interesting, this whole thing. I still don't know what I'm doing. Like, is this podcasting? Do I have a talk show? Do I have a video podcast? I don't even know what you call what I do. I guess it's podcasting.
Yeah, I think it's podcasting. I think whatever you want podcasting to be, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, I always thought podcasting was like a downloadable only Apple show. Isn't that what the name came from?
I feel like it did, but I feel like it's progressed so much. I mean, even thinking about when Joe Rogan first started and what he did in his basement. And they had like a shitty computer that they recorded on and used, just shitty microphones. It's just amazing how far he's come. And that's kind of what podcasting was.
Yeah. But really, in the essence, don't you think it's just people having long-form conversations, uninterrupted, unvarnished, non-scripted? It's just this, because we don't do this anymore. Like, it's hard for me at this point in my life to see that we've given into the devices and everything. I'm
addicted to it.
Guilty. We're all in there.
Yeah.
But like putting it down for a while and having a conversation and looking someone in the eye and talking with them, that's like so rare. And I think that's why people are interested in watching these shows, because it's real, relaxed conversation. I'm trying to slow life down a little bit by getting people to actually have human conversations. We're just slowing things down where people can think about what they're hearing, what they're going to say, as opposed to rapid firing. Well, he said this and fuck him and I want to say this and
Right.
all that triggered bullshit. I'm trying to stop all that. Just let us relax, take a breath.
Right.
Someone wants to have a cocktail, whatever. Let's just relax, drink, look each other in the eye, and talk. We can disagree. Have great, great discourse comes from some of the shows, but at least it's real. It's real
Right.
communication, because that shit is not.
It's not real. And I think when you're on this enough and that's your only form of communication, like, I don't know, like sometimes it's weird meeting somebody in person and having a natural conversation because you're so used to texting people and DMing people. And like, I mean, honestly, that's how you have to network now. There's really no way around it.
The world's different.
It's definitely different. But I think, for people to sit down and have a conversation like this doesn't happen a whole lot.
No, it doesn't. And I think that's the essence of what I think we're doing on the project, is just getting people to slow down. And I think that's valuable, especially because in the end, everything we're doing is disposable. Like, you put that show out into the ether, our conversation today is disposable, it's out in the ether. But what we hope is that people that listen or watch, that they find value. And when people discover the show a year, a month, 10 years from now out there, because it will be discovered by random people from all over. That's just how the web works.
Right.
That they find something valuable. And if our legacy is anything, we just want to have unvarnished, real, physical conversations in a world right now where that's at a premium.
Right.
And
I agree. I mean, I don't think I could have said it any better myself. Like, it's, just saying.
Once in a while, what comes out the mouth actually makes sense.
But I think there's a lot of value in it. And when I bring guests on, I do want my listeners to just take something away from it.
Yeah.
You know.
I want to have a good time
Right.
and all that stuff. But if nothing else, it's two people communicating. And I think oftentimes, too, like with our show, it's almost like we're giving the audience an opportunity to eavesdrop in on a conversation. Is it a show? Of course it's a show, because you got to produce it and put it out there. But
Right.
we're not really playing to the audience. Like, I'm not doing it to intentionally feed this content to these people. I want to create that illusion, even if it is just an illusion, that people are like eavesdropping in on what we're doing.
Right. And that's what I think's most natural. Like, I want my listener to feel like they are. Like, they're hearing something that may not be said in another interview. Because I listen to other interviews because that's what interests me.
100%.
But I'm like, okay, well, I want mine to be a little different. I want to pull something a little different from that person.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't want it to be the same thing all the time. That's why I like having the damn it moments, because I feel like when you share a drunk or embarrassing moment, like, it's typically not something you're going to talk about on every podcast or every interview.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I think in the end, it comes down to people are interested in podcasting because they're obviously not getting enough of this kind of real dialogue in their regular life. If we didn't have these devices interrupting everything, I think podcasting would not really be a thing. I think you have I think there'd be celebrities and things that we'd want to run to, but it really makes no sense that we're so interested in regular people. Like, some of my highest shows I have are not some of the more notable people I've had. It's when I've had people that are just like me, average people, and they're a group of 3 or 4 people that I curated to get together, and we have a great conversation, usually about topics of the day. Those are my highest rated shows, because I think the listener is being able to relate to what's going on there.
Right. And like I said before, you can watch interviews with these people that are popular and that do it, multiple
100%.
times a year.
It's already out there.
Right.
Like, are any topics out of bounds for you?
No.
Yeah, politics is what I really try to stay away from. I don't intentionally tell people to not do it.
Yeah.
But I don't want, you'll never hear me start it.
Right. I try to steer away from that. I really don't want. I don't really want it.
There's enough of that out there.
Yeah, I don't want it. I don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I'm personally not knowledgeable enough to have a conversation with someone about it and feel good about putting it out.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm very much the same way. I'm kind of indifferent to most of it. So it's like, why should I believe that someone should give a shit what I had to think about this one or that one?
Right.
I have no delusions that my opinion's worthwhile to those people, so they can figure that out on their own.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I don't really care to ask somebody when I bring them here. That's not what I want to talk about with someone.
Me neither. It creeps into some of my shows, and I deal with it appropriately. And if someone asks my opinion on something, I'll give it, but it's not my intention to dwell and move the conversation in that direction.
Right.
Make any sense?
Oh, 100%. And I think that that's very, wise on your part to do that, to remain as neutral.
I think it's more fun to avoid it, to be honest with you, because
Yeah.
there's enough of that muck out there anyways.
There's so much of it.
Yeah, we don't need it.
No.
We don't need it. It's supposed to be fun.
It is. And I feel like podcasts are an escape sometimes from those things.
No question.
So
I would think so. Especially because you do yours is certainly humor-based and lighthearted and fun, and just don't ever, my advice to you, my friend, is don't ever lose that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much for being on the podcast.
No, I'm honored. Thanks for asking me.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can do a panel show sometime. I would
Very
love
soon.
that.
Well, we're going to talk about that after we've done filming today.
Awesome. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening to episode 2 of season 2, and I'll see you guys next week.